copper 2 carbonate react with dilute nitric acid. One of the products of the reaction is copper 2 nitrate. One of the product, and because copper 2 carbonate react with nitric acid, give copper nitrate plus water plus carbon dioxide. So copper nitrate is the solution. Describe a test for copper ion and include the result. So if you want to test a positive ion, if you want to identify which positive ion is there, we can add aqueous ammonia or we can add sodium hydroxide. So to test the copper ion, because it's a positive ion, so we'll add sodium hydroxide, aqueous sodium hydroxide. So it will give a blue precipitate, a blue PPT. Then you have to learn that table, the test for the ion. So when you add sodium hydroxide, it will give a blue precipitate. Or any one of them you can mention, or you can mention add aqueous ammonia. So it will form a blue precipitate which dissolves to give blue solution. So blue precipitate is there, blue precipitate will be there which dissolve, and as a result of dissolving, it will give a blue solution. Then test for nitrate ion. Again, this is about the memorization. So to test a nitrate ion, how we carry out this test, we add sodium hydroxide and aluminum powder. And then we will heat. It will give a pungent gas, irritating smell gas will be there. Which turn red litmus blue. So this is actually a test for nitrate ion. So you have to learn these tests for the positive ion as well as for the negative ion. For positive ion, we add normally sodium hydroxide. The same test is there, but observation is different. Whereas for negative ion, we add different negative ion depending on which one we want to test. But in this case, because we want to test a nitrate ion, that's why we are adding sodium hydroxide and aluminum powder in heat, which will give a pungent gas, and that pungent gas will turn red litmus blue. The next is a sample of copper 2 nitrate was dissolved in water to form a solution. The aqueous solution was split into 3 portions. A separate test was done on each portion. When we add sodium hydroxide, it will form a light blue precipitate. When we add a zinc, so for blue litmus, it indicate alkaline. Yeah, blue litmus indicate alkaline gas is given off. Because whenever you have nitrate, you heat after adding sodium hydroxide and aluminum powder. When you heat, it will give out ammonia gas, and ammonia gas is alkaline. That's why the litmus turned red, blue to red. This question is actually related to identification of not only for ions, it's also about the metal topic. Question 15, copper to nitrate can be made by reacting copper carbonate with nitric acid. One of the product is carbon dioxide. Write a chemical equation for reaction of copper carbonate with nitric acid. So whenever metal carbonate is heated with acid, it gives salt, water, and carbon dioxide. So copper carbonate is there. So copper is +2 and carbonate is -2. So when we simplify, for copper carbonate, it is CuCO3. So copper carbonate is there. added with nitric acid, HNO3. So whenever acid react with carbonate, it will give salt, water, and carbon dioxide. So what will be the salt? Because acid react with nitrate, like nitric acid is there, react with carbonate. So it will, because it's a nitric acid, so it will give a nitrate salt. So as a result, it should produce copper nitrate. So it's important that you write a correct formula. Copper nitrate is there. So copper is +2 and nitrate is -1. So for copper nitrate, we cross multiply the valency. So it will be CuNO3 in a bracket 2. That is copper nitrate. Plus water. Water formula is H2O. Plus carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide formula is CO2. Then we have to balance. As you can see, we have two nitrates here. So we should have two nitrate, 2NO3. So we put 2 nitrate is balanced. The moment we balance nitrate, the whole equation is balanced. So the equation for reaction between copper nitrate, copper carbonate with nitric acid. So copper carbonate react with nitric acid. It gives copper nitrate, CuNO3 in a bracket 2 plus water, H2O plus carbon dioxide. So we put 2, that is balanced. Now carbon dioxide is added to air by living thing. Name a chemical process by which living thing add carbon dioxide. So we respire to give out carbon dioxide. So that process is known as respiration. By respiration, we are releasing carbon dioxide to the surrounding. The carbon dioxide is removed by the plants. Name a chemical process which plants remove carbon dioxide from air. So how the plants remove carbon dioxide from air? That is known as photosynthesis. So by photosynthesis, the plants are removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Is it clear, this question? Then dilute sulfuric acid is used to make salt called sulfate, because sulfuric acid gives sulfate salt, nitric acid gives nitrate, and hydrochloric acid gives chloride salt. A method consists of 3 steps used to make zinc sulfate from zinc carbonate. So if we have zinc carbonate, what will be the equation? Like originally we have zinc carbonate, metal carbonate salt is there, we add sulfuric acid, so as a result it will produce zinc sulfate plus water plus carbon dioxide. So these are the products which are formed when zinc carbonate is reacting with sulfuric acid, salt, water, and carbon dioxide. So first we did add excess of zinc carbonate to sulfuric acid. What does it mean? Like example, we have a container that is having a sulfuric acid originally. So we have sulfuric acid, and to this sulfuric acid we add zinc carbonate. So when we add this zinc carbonate to sulfuric acid, so zinc carbonate react with sulfuric acid. This solution, originally it was sulfuric acid, but because the sulfuric acid is reacted, so this solution will turn into zinc sulfate. and unreacted zinc carbonate, because not all of the zinc carbonate reacted, as we use excess means more than enough. So unreacted zinc carbonate will left in the container, and there will be carbon dioxide gas which was released. Then we filter. So what is the purpose of the filtration? So when we carry out the filtration, so when we carry out the filtration on the filter, on this the funnel, what is left behind? The unreacted zinc carbonate will be left behind, which does not react. And through the filter paper, what passes through? The zinc sulfate solution will pass through. That's the solution that will pass through. Then heat until a saturated solution is formed, and then we allow it to crystallize. So when we heat the solution, concentrate, and then crystals will be formed. Name a suitable piece of apparatus to measure 20 cm cube of dilute sulfuric acid. So if you want to measure 20 cm cube, so which apparatus is suitable? We can use a burette. We cannot say pipette, because pipette can measure a fixed volume of 25 cm cube. You can measure using a magic cylinder, but if you want to measure accurately, then burette is the correct answer. Then state 2 observation that shows that the reaction is complete. That show that the reaction is complete. Like how we'll know that this reaction is completed? There is no more reaction occur. So number one, there will be no bubbles, and number two, the solid does not dissolve or react. So there will be no bubbles, and the solid does not dissolve or solid does not react. Why it is important to add excess of zinc carbonate? Like why we should add too much zinc carbonate? The reason is that when we add excess, so to make sure all the acid reacted or used up, like all of the, like no more acid should be left in the container, all the acid should be used up. That's why we should add excess of zinc carbonate. What is meant by the term saturated solution? What is the definition of a saturated solution? It means a solution which contain maximum amount of dissolved salt at certain particular temperature or certain temperature. So solution which contain maximum amount of dissolved salt at a particular temperature, that is known as a saturated solution. Is it clear till this point? Anyone having a doubt? Then we have to write an equation. As we know, zinc carbonate, this equation is there. We just have to mention in a bracket, we have to just complete a symbol, because this zinc sulfate crystals are, it's a solution is formed, so we write aqueous. So name another zinc compound which could be made to which could be used to make zinc sulfate. Like here we are using zinc carbonate. So what else other than zinc carbonate can be used? So we can also use zinc oxide. Zinc oxide can also be used, or we can also use zinc hydroxide, because metal oxide, metal hydroxide, or metal carbonate, they all give salt. Then suggest why this method would suggest why this would not work for barium sulfate. Like why it does not work with the barium sulfate? Because barium sulfate is insoluble salt. So if we use barium sulfate, like if we want to prepare barium sulfate from barium carbonate, it won't be correct. Why it won't be correct? Because as you can see, if we have barium carbonate, if a barium carbonate is added to sulfuric acid, as a result, what it will form, it will produce barium sulfate plus water plus carbon dioxide. So they are asking why this technique is not suitable, because you can see barium carbonate is solid. So barium carbonate is solid, sulfuric acid is solution, barium sulfate is also solid. So why this technique won't be suitable? If we have a sulfuric acid here and we add barium carbonate solid. So when we add barium carbonate solid, the barium carbonate will react and the sulfuric acid will be used up. And when the barium carbonate react, what it produce? It will produce barium sulfate. So barium sulfate which is produced, that is insoluble. And barium carbonate, the unreacted barium carbonate, will also be insoluble. So as a result, what will happen? The two solids will be there mixed together. That's why we cannot take out barium sulfate from it. So it is not a suitable technique. So suggest why this method would not work where to make barium sulfate from barium carbonate and sulfuric acid. The reason is that barium sulfate is insoluble salt which mix with unreacted barium carbonate. Is it clear, this part? Then the last question is, after titration, titration is a technique by which we can identify the concentration of different solution. A conical flask contains aqueous potassium sulfate. So there's a conical flask. There's a conical flask which contain potassium sulfate aqueous. And it also has some indicator means like because of the indicator the solution might be colored, so we cannot obtain the salt from it, otherwise the salt will also be colored. Describe how a pure dry sample of potassium sulfate crystal from a new solution of sulfuric acid and potassium hydroxide used in a titration include. So how we can get this potassium sulfate salt? So first what we will do, because it's a potassium sulfate is a soluble salt, so we'll take volume of sulfuric acid and potassium hydroxide used in titration. Like we will in a titration we'll know how much acid is reacting with an alkali. So we'll take the volume of sulfuric acid and potassium hydroxide used in the titration without indicator, because if it was used with indicator, because indicator is a substance which is used to identify the nature. So without indicator, because we don't want to identify the nature, so without indicator we take volume of sulfuric acid and potassium hydroxide without indicator, and we mix the two solutions. But this time when we'll mix the two solution, so when we mix the two solutions, this time what will happen, there is no solid form. Why no solid form? Because if you mix nitric acid, sulfuric acid with potassium hydroxide, so potassium hydroxide is KOH, sulfuric acid is H2SO4. As a result of mixing them, so potassium hydroxide plus sulfuric acid gives potassium sulfate, and most sulfates are soluble except barium, calcium, and lead. So this potassium sulfate is soluble. So when you mix them together without indicator, it will form a solution, but there is no solid form here because the salt is a soluble salt. So mix the two solution. Now, if you want to obtain a soluble salt, so how to obtain a salt, a soluble salt from the solution? So we will use crystallization. And what are the steps of the crystallization? We will heat, concentrate, so we will heat and concentrate, then we will cool the solution. So heat and concentrate till the point of crystallization. Then cool and remove the crystals by filtration. So when we mix the acid and alkali, it will form a salt solution. So this salt solution, how we obtain a salt from it? We supply heat energy, the salt will the liquid will evaporate, but not all of the liquid evaporates, some of the liquid evaporate. And then we cool down. So when we cool down, the crystals will appear. And when these crystals appear, we can use filtration for this one. Is it clear that how we can obtain the pure crystals of potassium sulfate by mixing sulfuric acid and potassium hydroxide? So these are the questions related to topic. The last week we did the multiple choice question, and this week we did the structure. Next session we'll start a new topic, which is chapter 9, periodic table.